You are listening to Thunderbolt Sports Talk. Here are your hosts, Charlie Adams and Timothy Yee.
Welcome to episode number 10 of Season 2 of Thunderbolt Sports Talk. Back here, right off of Mr. Levanka's room, recording our 10th episode of Season 2. Tim, it's been a busy week. Bring us through the sports news to start us out. All right, Tim, I guess I'll do it myself. Since we last spoke on Friday, the boys tennis team picked up a 7-0 victory versus Woonsocket. The softball team picked up a 12-0 win versus Central. And then on the final game of Friday's slate, girls lacrosse took a 19-6 loss versus Narragansett. Moving on to Saturday, there was a track meet for both girls and boys track. And this week's slate of action started with another track meet, followed up by boys lacrosse taking on Lincoln. And that score was 22-0, the final score. Not going Cranston East's way, to say the least. Baseball followed up with a 3-1 loss versus Smithfield. Boys tennis, our tried and true team in the fall and in the spring, 6-1 win versus Pawtucket. Girls lacrosse against Providence Country Day had a 9-7 loss. It was a close one, broadcasted on the Fans Only Sports Network. Boys volleyball followed it up with a sweep of Bishop Hendricken on home court. Followed that by boys lacrosse taking on North Providence, a 14-5 loss in that one. Baseball picked up a 7-5 loss, moving their record to 1-2 as they fell to South Kingstown. And moving on to softball, they took on Davies and won 12-2. They're 3-0 on the year. These are the results from yesterday as boys lacrosse takes on North Smithfield. They fell 19-1, sitting at 0-5 as we move on to our final sports result to get you up to date. Boys volleyball took on Chariho yesterday and picked up back-to-back sweeps. 3-0 victory versus Chariho. They moved to 3-2 on the year, and they've had such a great week. Tim, you want to go into a little more detail on that? All right. Well, Tim, I know you're in Cambodia and can't respond to me, but luckily I replaced you with two great co-hosts here. I'm joined by Evan Morel and Emmett Billings here on the program for episode number 10. Fellas, how are you doing?
Doing great.
I'm chilling, man. Good, big boss.
Well, you're doing good. All right. Sounds good. Were you able to get out to any Cranston East athletic events during this past week?
Yes, I was commentating this girls lacrosse game against Providence Country Day here at Stadium.
Yeah,
It was a pretty close game, I would say. Score being 9-7. It was a back-to-back. Both teams kept scoring back-to-back goals, so it was like to the wire, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely an exciting game. I know there was some big scoring put on by Cranston East. A lot of exciting action there as 7 goals came across. Ayla Tusia put in a goal as well on that great game. That they fell 9-7, but was a good effort nonetheless. Girls softball has been rolling, Emmett. I know your sister is on the team. And how excited are you for this season?
Very excited. They're a really good team. I know last night they blew out some team like 12-2. Really strong people on that team. Yeah, they should have a good season.
Yeah, their star pitcher Isabel Sousa with 8 strikeouts across 6 innings. She's been dominant so far in the early stretch of the year. And Cranston East Athletics might be taking an uptick with the boys volleyball team picking up back-to-back sweeps. Just seems to be a pattern when Tim Yeen goes away that Cranston East teams start winning again. Maybe you should stay all the way in Cambodia, where it's currently about, 7 p.m. over there, his time, so.
Might be taking a nap right now.
Maybe, but the thing is.
At 7?
The thing is,
personally,
yesterday for us, when the boys volleyball game was being broadcasted on the Fans Only Sports Network, Tim Yeen was up at 5:30 a.m. local time to be watching that game. There's a reason he won the Bleed Green Award, and he's really defending that title. But I do have to say, on the TB Sports Media side, Yoshi Simone is doing a great job running the social media accounts for real. She's putting out some great new content that we haven't seen TB Sports Media do, being efficient, putting in the stats that are necessary to make the scores and make sure that everyone feels included and welcome in the TB Sports Media realm. Definitely doing a good job. Shout out Yoshi Simone. Maybe should just hold on to the presidency even when Tim comes back at the end of the month. Well, we're going into vacation week here. This is going to be the final episode before a week break for April vacation. What are you guys planning on doing during April break?
Just a whole lot of working, to be honest.
I was going to say I have a good amount of shifts next week, like 25 hours, so I plan to work and, play some Rainbow Six Siege.
Well, this is Thunderbolt Sports Talk, so can you guys just introduce yourself by telling us what kind of sports you guys really tune into?
You can start off.
All right, so I'm like the biggest Boston's fan in Rhode Island, I would say. So I watch
Sure,
baseball.
that's not true.
Well, no, it is.
Okay.
So I watch baseball. Big Red Sox fan, big Celtics fan, and I dip my feet into the Bruins pool sometimes.
So basically, he's just a Boston fan.
Well,
all right. But me, on the other hand, I watch a lot of sports. I would say I watch a lot of football, soccer, basketball, including some fighting too, and mixed martial arts, and that WWE.
So you're a well-rounded fan, Evan. Do you have any favorite teams or favorite players that you follow?
I mean, right now, I'll just have to say, that dude, Jason Tatum, kind of tough.
Oh, all right. So you're on the Celtics bandwagon?
Nah, but he's just
I
tough.
believe you said you were an NBA fan a week ago.
I am an NBA fan, but Jason Tatum's tough, though. Can't
Okay.
lie.
Okay.
Well, the Celtics are the best team in the league, guaranteed. And I know some people are seeing these late regular season losses that don't mean anything, but come playoff time, I'm sure they're going to have it all tuned up to 11 and maybe not lose a game all the way across the playoffs. I mean, they picked up a big Drew Holiday extension. I know he was talking about retiring soon, but now he's locked up with the Celtics and looks to be a big part of their team for the future. How exciting is that news?
He said that he's looking to win multiple rings. So I guess everyone's on the same page. We're looking to become a dynasty in the next coming years.
Dynasty, but how old is Drew Holiday again?
Well, he's going to be 37 when his contract ends. But,
That's
it's going to be a dynasty.
He ain't LeBron. I ain't gonna say that.
All right. Well, let's talk about LeBron because his son, Bronny James, entered the transfer portal, declared for the NBA draft. He checked all of the above when it comes to his next step for his future. Do you think Bronny James is worth a first-round pick for any of these teams right now?
Absolutely not.
Well,
the dude averaged 5 points in college.
I do got to say, though, LeBron said he wanted to play with Bronny. So, I mean, whatever team picks up Bronny is going to have LeBron one way or another. So
Then again,
maybe he is a good pickup.
he is a good pickup, but is he developed enough for the NBA yet?
I mean, we
Is
got
really the question.
Giannis, his brother, sitting on the bench, though. I mean,
Well,
Thanasis had that crazy clip early in the day. I don't
Thanasis
know.
Antetokounmpo now has a podcast. I didn't know they just gave a mic to anyone nowadays. Finalysis is a great podcast, apparently, where Brooke Lopez went into how long it took him to finally get a haircut. He hasn't been in a barber's chair for over 20 years.
thanks.
So just gets a couple trims, but no barber. And Finalysis is a new podcast that you can follow in the podcasting world if you want to listen to third stringers talk about basketball. So that's exciting news for anyone who cares about Thanasis Antetokounmpo. But exciting news for Celtics fans is the Maine Celtics seem to be building for the future here in Boston, as they got a spot in the championship game for the G League, and I know they have some talented players on their roster with Jordan Walsh and J.D. Davidson, a lot of players that could be second string NBA talent out there in Maine.
Could be the next type of Sam Hauser type of dude to come into the lineup.
I don't think they're quite as good as Sam Hauser, but yeah,
Jordan Walsh could. That dude's tough.
he is tough.
The Eastern Conference champions of the G League, the Maine Celtics, are really handling it here.
They are
And
1-1. The series is tied. They're going back to Maine, I think.
Yeah, they play on 239 Park Ave in Portland, Maine, if you want to make the trip up.
That's a long drive.
That's true. And, the Patriots, got to talk about them as well because the NFL draft is coming up soon. We're hearing the news build up here with all of these draft prospects. J.J. McCarthy left the NFL on scene on their NFL draft invite. Joe Alt rejected his offer to appear, but the Patriots hold the third pick in the draft, and there's definitely options for them. There's options to trade back. There's options to pick up anyone. Emmett, who are you looking for the Patriots to draft here?
So honestly, at the beginning of the season or at the end of the season, I wanted Mac Jones to stay because when we drafted him, he was for the long arm, right? He had a good arm. He could throw deep. So I was looking for an MHJ draft right there. But now I guess we're just going for a QB. I'm honestly kind of terrified because if we do draft a QB, there's no offensive weapons to throw to. So I mean, I think we're kind of.
If the Patriots were gonna draft a QB, it would have to be Jaden Daniels. I mean, the dude kind of led college football in rushing yards as a quarterback.
Jaden Daniels definitely looks like a good option for this team.
Nice dual threat for the run in the pass game. I mean, what more can you ask for if you're the Patriots right now struggling with the QB position?
We got to ask for an offensive line first. So I mean, we got
that is facts. But Mac Jones
is not the answer.
Yeah, he's also not the answer.
Well, he had a great rookie season because we had people to throw to, and then we got rid of Jacoby Myers, didn't sign him back.
Well, I mean,
he also wasn't getting smoked every 2 seconds after he snapped the ball. I mean, he doesn't have any time in the pocket, but his time in New England certainly needed to be done. And I guess he can go home to Jacksonville, see what he'll do there, backing up Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, might just be chilling with Trevor Lawrence for the rest of his career. Might be another Sam Darnold, to be honest, but we'll see what happens with him.
And do you think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a generational talent that you can't pass up at number 3?
Absolutely. That dude is tough.
Yeah. He is very tough.
That dude is tough. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, man.
I do think wide receivers come and go, though. So, I mean, if we don't get him, then there are other wide receivers that are going to be coming in the next couple of drafts.
He is that Buckeye.
I do not think the Patriots are winning anything this year. So,
I'd be fine to ride it out with Jacoby Brissett for at least a year, you know. You saw how he performed when Tom Brady went down and then Jimmy Garoppolo went down.
I also liked his performance.
Really grinding there.
And then on the Cleveland Browns, when Deshaun Watson was out, he was hooping.
He definitely held his own there, kept the Browns afloat, waiting for Deshaun Watson to come back. Speaking of someone who might relate to Deshaun Watson, O.J. Simpson, the juice is no longer loose.
Oh, man.
No more O.J. Simpson. I mean, no one was ever convicted, but I don't think he'll see the pearly gates. But O.J. Simpson's dead after struggling through cancer and sports news because he was a sports athlete before the white Bronco teared down the highway. And that's all we got to say about that. But let's move on to some combat news because two of the biggest events in two of the biggest sports entertainment, MMA areas, wrestling areas happened one, and another one is happening this Saturday. On April 6th and 7th, WrestleMania 40 kicked off from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And coming up this Saturday is UFC 300. So two big events for two companies that are both under the same umbrella now in TKO. And WrestleMania, you'd have to call that a success, right?
Absolutely. Probably that match alone was probably top 3 of all time.
Talking about the main event?
Absolute, man. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. That was tough.
Definitely an exciting night of action on both nights. Not many low points in the first WrestleMania, completely away from Vince McMahon and under Triple H. Emmett, were you able to catch any of WrestleMania?
You know, I'm not a big wrestling fan at all. I do like John Cena, so seeing John Cena come out was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I feel like everyone just feels like John Cena is who you cheer on as a Boston sports fan. I mean, he is kind of from Boston, so I guess it makes sense. But
I'm more of a fan of the acting that was going on. A lot of acting.
You loved his Oscar performance, huh?
Very much.
What?
Okay.
I mean, he put on an Oscar performance during the match. So
there's plenty of opinions on his Oscar shenanigans, but UFC 300 is coming up. This is a stacked card if you want to talk about real sports and you don't really see WWE in that same light. Main evented by Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill, a light heavyweight title bout. And the card stacked from top to bottom. Yesterday, Dana White announced that fight bonuses were going to be $300K instead of their usual price, which
that's
is
a payday.
some life-changing money for some of these athletes. And it's really a stacked card. You can see on the prelims, the ESPN free prelims, is literally some of the best athletes: Aljamain Sterling, Yuri Prohaska. These are some main event talent that you can see in the prelims this weekend. The main card has Bo Nickel, a lot of athletes here that you want to see in one place. I mean, the only person who you could probably say is missing from this card has to be Conor McGregor.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the only person that can really make this card better, if we're being honest. This is such a stacked card. I mean, you got Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, all the dudes, even Alex Pereira. Come on, man.
Yeah, Holloway's taking on Justin Gaethje for the BMF title, just as fake as the Rock's title from WWE. And there's plenty of fights on the prelims. Davison Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt is a surefire classic. Bobby Green versus Jim Miller, also definitely going to be a fun fight. Jalen Turner versus Renato Moicano. These are actually, this is a stacked card. The debut of Kayla Harrison in the UFC taking on Holly Holm. And the list goes on. Calvin Kattar's taking on Aljamain Sterling.
Sterling's in the prelim?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
The second title fight on the main card is Weili Zhang versus Yan Xiaonan. And then, of course, the BMF title fight rounds out the 3 5-round main event fights that are on slate for UFC 300. And moving on in the sports world to another major event that's going on right in line with all of these other events just happening at the same time. The Masters here from Augusta National continues to roll on here. They had to pause to darkness last night, but as it stands right now, Bryson DeChambeau sits at the top of the leaderboard at -7 after finishing his first round. There's a couple players who haven't finished their first round. And that includes the number 3 on the leader, who I don't want to take a real guess at his name. I'll try it, though. Nikolai Hojgaard. I think I got it there. He's sitting at 3rd and has 2 more holes left to go on his day for the first round. The Masters, of course, one of the biggest events the PGA Tour puts on every year. For Tiger Woods, he's sitting at -1 as it stands. He still has plenty of time to go in his first round, but he'll continue to put on the pressure here as the Masters rolls on. Any thoughts about golf?
I mean, I don't watch much of it, but I did see the Masters menu, and you can build a lot with $10. There's like $3 sandwiches, $2 sandwiches. You seen that, Charlie?
No, I don't even know what are you referencing right now?
The Masters.
A menu? Oh, like if you want to get food there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thanks for bringing this to our attention.
Hard to follow up that, but I am a fan of Topgolf, so,
I mean, unrelated to the pot of what we're talking about, but there's breaking news about Rashee Rice, and he was released on bond. How do we feel about that?
I mean, we'll see how it goes. It's the NFL, so he might get away with it, but it's not looking too good for him. I mean, for what it's worth, he's a talented wide receiver, and that seems to always lead to this kind of path for a lot of them.
Yeah.
But, Antonio Brown, CTESPN, is killing the game. Pat McAfee won Cracker of the Day a couple days ago. And the beat goes on for Antonio Brown. Hopefully, Rashee Rice gets back down the right track because he's a talented wide receiver that the Chiefs are going to need. We'll see how it goes.
He was integral to that Super Bowl, and him and Marquise Brown could be something deadly.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown is big for that Kansas City team. We'll see as the season and NFL season continues to come closer. We got to talk about the Red Sox and MLB as a whole because we've gone over all these other teams in the New England area, and the Red Sox, they started off hot, and now some injuries might have cost them, but they're kind of struggling as of late.
I don't think the injuries costed them. I think it's because of our pretty bad bullpen. I mean, last night against the Orioles, we went into the 10th inning. What score was 1-1, and the Orioles scored six runs in 1 inning. I mean, that just shows how pretty garbage our bullpen is, and that's losing us games.
Well, they had Campbell work on back-to-back nights, and it didn't work out back-to-back nights. A couple of tough losses for the Red Sox as they keep blowing leads against their divisional opponents, getting swept in their home opening series. Not what you want to see, but after a good road trip, there's still life as the Los Angeles Angels come to town, and hopefully the Red Sox will get back in their winning ways and keep things going on the up and up. Injuries have really taken over the MLB and taken over the headlines here, as a lot of pitchers are going down early in the year, and a lot of talented pitchers that you don't want to see getting hurt. They're throwing faster than ever. They're spinning the ball harder than ever. And you might be seeing some of those results here as these pitchers continue to get injured. The Red Sox no different with Nick Pivetta getting injured, and Giolito got hurt before the season started. Of course, Trevor Story out for the year again. And the list goes on with the Red Sox. It's going to take a little bit to right this ship here, but 7-6 right now, going up against a bad Angels team at home. Try to win at Fenway. Couldn't do it last year. Let's see if we could start doing it this year. In the MLB, there's plenty of news to talk about, but the one stealing the headlines once again is Ippei Mizuhara and his relationship with Shohei Ohtani, which included stealing over $15 million apparently, which is a lot more than it was originally. And for this story, at first it kind of looked and smelled like a cover-up. Now it just looks like Ippei has just been doing this the whole time with the federal government getting involved, and it kind of looks like this is all Ippei. And Shohei has lost $16 million under his nose, not noticed, calls being made to the bank, trying to act like Shohei Ohtani to get these loans to the bookmakers, all these things going on. I don't know what he's doing. He had a great position and seemingly was a great friend to Ohtani, and all of that's ruined now.
I just don't.
He sucks at gambling.
He didn't hit his parlay. That's all I gotta say.
That's
multiple times.
Well, yeah, definitely multiple times. He just continually dropped down bets of a pretty big amount, and it cost him a pretty penny here. I don't know if he's ever gonna really get a job anywhere anymore.
I mean 16 M's is a lot of money.
I would say he made a lot of money being the translator, but then he just lost it all betting on sports. So, I mean, I don't know what he's going to do with his career now. It's pretty hopeless.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's something criminal coming his way after all that. And let's move on to the WNBA, the women's basketball scene as a whole. We saw the end of March Madness with UConn repeating for the men's tournament, and for the women's national championship, South Carolina getting the big win over Iowa. Caitlin Clark unable to finish the story before heading to the WNBA draft, which is like a week after the tournament for some reason. April 15th, so it's right on your doorstep when the WNBA draft is coming. And people are already having their ideas of who the number one pick is going to be. Rightfully so. They think Caitlin Clark is going to be headed to the Indiana Fever, who hold the number one pick in the draft. And because of that, 90% of national TV games, or 90% is the amount of games that the Indiana Fever will have broadcasted on national TV. That's way up from last year. They had one game broadcasted nationally last year, and now 36 out of the Fever's 40 games will be nationally televised. So for the WNBA draft and for women's basketball as a whole, things are definitely looking up, and an exciting just time to be a women's basketball fan.
Yeah, I will be tuning into some of those games. I got to say, though, I am a Connecticut Suns fan, but it doesn't matter. Caitlin Clark is a beast on the court. She kind of reminds me of myself. So, yeah.
I mean, that might be Cap Emmett Billings, but anyways, Caitlin Clark being drafted to the Indiana Fever, she probably is going to be teaming up with Aaliyah Boston, one of her rivals in college. And they look to be a nice duo, I would say. I mean, Caitlin Clark ooped from deep for no reason, so.
I mean, at this point, you got to think that most people are aware of more women's basketball players than men's basketball players, at least on the college scene. There's plenty of big names. Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, Camila Cardoso, of course, Paige Beckers, who won't be in the WNBA draft.
Angel Reese.
Yeah, Angel Reese, who's caught a lot of slack, but, I mean, that's kind of part of what got people tuning in. You know, you always got to root against a villain to really be invested, and for a lot of people, that was Angel Reese, and there's other takes on that, but Angel Reese now headed to the WNBA, where we can continue to see these rivalries built up in college and see how it works out in the WNBA, which might be seeing an uptick. I know they've not really turned a profit yet, but this might be what gets them over. And even next year for college women's basketball, they still have plenty of talent there, plenty of big names, and plenty of exciting games on the horizon.
I got to say, I definitely tuned into more of the women's tournament than the men's tournament. I'm not a big college basketball fan, but Caitlin Clark, again, dominant. So it was interesting to watch her journey throughout.
Evan, I see you doing some research over there. You got any intel you want to share with us?
I mean, other than the mock draft I was looking at for the WNBA, I would say, the same thing as Emmett's been saying. Women's college basketball has been probably more entertaining so far. Other than that NC State run by the men's collegiate basketball team, we may have to talk about that. But, yeah, women's basketball has been very entertaining. I mean, Caitlin Clark dropped 40 on Haley Van Lith. That was entertainment.
Well, you know, the men's college basketball side finished off with 2-1 seeds in the championship game. Purdue took on UConn, and UConn never really seemed like they had someone up to their level the entire tournament, making it all the way to their second championship in a row under Dan Hurley, former URI men's basketball coach, and now doing big things for the UConn program. You know, this is an exciting time for people in New England, just from all the sports success that continues to happen here, and UConn continues to be a dominant force, and they look like they might have a third one in them.
I mean, absolutely. Beating every team by like 15 to 20 points, even in the championship game, is just unheard of in the past couple of years. I mean, UConn joins Kareem's UCLA team that won back-to-back championships to only win it, actually, back-to-back. So it says something about the team, especially in this modern era of basketball.
Again, I'm not a big college basketball fan, so, you know, happy for UConn, yeah.
Yeah, you got to be happy for UConn and happy for South Carolina finishing off their undefeated season. They're just always up there with the best of them in women's college basketball, and always one of the top programs in the country when it comes to women's college basketball. You know, all this sports news is all good, but you always got to bring up English language arts when we're on the podcast, because all three of us and our producer Ashton head up to 302 right after this period and go talk about English and all that good stuff. It's the day before vacation, but we've had some exciting happenings going on in the past couple classes. Evan, did you present your project the last class that we had?
Yes, I talked about one of my favorite restaurants, Den Den. I mean, can't go wrong with their Korean cuisine. That fried chicken is always good. I mean, what did you talk about, Emmett?
Well, I did the Rainforest Cafe, but to bring it back to you, there was some controversy with your presentation.
Oh,
do you want to go back on that?
The amount of weird synonyms I used? Yeah. We can address that, but I
don't know, Evan.
not proud.
You got a great vocabulary there. It seems
it's not the best vocabulary, actually, because those words were mostly looked up.
Oh.
But, yeah.
Big thesaurus guy here.
Big thesaurus, whatever the word is. Anyways.
Well, you know, whether it's Goblin, Gerald, or Peter Quill, whatever gets the job done, I guess. None of it's good stuff, especially when you're talking that. But maybe if you're talking CSA, who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying. Good projects, good time in ELA class always. And we're moving in to some prep for the AP exam.
We have a lot of those coming up.
Which I am not taking.
No one knows why.
We know because all those credits through URI you're getting.
You don't
But
get.
That's not. I mean, I didn't know that beforehand. That's just a plus. I went into the year thinking I was going to take no AP exams, and now I'm taking one. So.
Well, the English. If you took English and passed it in 11th grade, and now you're taking English in 12th grade, if you pass that, it checks off 2 different classes, so you'd get 2 credits. But I don't know, free money isn't for everyone, I guess. It's all good.
Well, you have to pass the exam first, Jazz.
I mean, come on. I haven't failed yet.
He's
3s
undefeated.
across the board.
He's undefeated.
AP Scholar.
That's true. World History AP
And he did
in
WAP.
the sophomore year got me over for that AP Scholar, but, not to brag.
It's 3, right? You have to pass
3 passing. So
that was close.
you still have a chance, I guess.
I do have a chance. I'm hopeful, but I think realistically, I'm looking at a 2 here. And
we're talking about AP stats here. You might get a 2 on there, but if you're talking about Rainbow Six Siege, you might get a 5 on there, Emmett. I mean, I know there's some advantages you have over other opponents, but what puts Rainbow Six Siege above all these other games?
It's really competitive. I enjoy the competitiveness.
How long have you been playing this game for?
I've been playing for 7 years of my life. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a big Fortnite guy, so I played Siege when I was younger, and yeah.
You like the strategic?
It's a 5-on-5. If you didn't know what Rainbow Six Siege was, it's a 5-on-5 game. You fight each other, and yeah, it's strategic. You have to use your mind to outsmart your opponents. Chaz seems to be pretty bad at that game, though.
I don't know. You don't seem to outsmart your opponents that much. I think it helps when you're using a keyboard on a game that doesn't allow keyboards.
Well, these accusations are just not proven by any facts whatsoever. So
I mean, we've seen your setup before, pal.
We've seen your bank statement.
Yeah, we've seen the amount you spent.
Evan's a true gamer. He gets on and plays some random indie game that's on Game Pass. The greatest deal in gaming.
$15 a month.
Plenty of options, and Evan takes advantage of probably over half of them. And Evan, what's the most obscure game that you really enjoy?
I mean, we could talk about anything. I mean, I could just sit there playing 2K for 3 hours, for being honest.
Well, we've seen you play a bunch of games that no one's ever heard of. What kind of games do you really look for when you're looking for one of those single-player games that no one's ever heard of on Xbox Game Pass?
I'm just looking for a good experience through the game. I mean, like, if it's boring in the first 3 hours, then I just uninstall it. But if it can keep me there, then I'll sit there if I have nothing to do that day,
So you draw the line at 3 hours?
Not even 3 hours, probably like 30 minutes. I'm kind of exaggerating it right there.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
Interesting. Well, the gaming world is always evolving. MLB The Show is always evolving to being a pay-to-win game out of nowhere. Love to see that.
Dang.
It's a damn shame. But the sports world is always evolving. Thunderbolt Sports Talk is always evolving. And, folks, do we have anything else we want to talk about here on episode 10 of season 2?
The Heat are terrible.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Whoa.
We could mention the fact that Tim Yeen is not here, and the Miami Heat are terrible. And, I mean, we've been over all the teams that Tim Yeen decides to cheer for no reason.
Yes. I mean, matter of fact,
Diamondbacks fan, right?
Apparently.
should we talk about the NBA standings right now currently? Because
Go ahead, run us through it, Evan.
as I look it up, I mean, we already know that the Boston Celtics do have the best record in the NBA. They already achieved that multiple games ago, so we can see why they stopped trying against the Knicks when they got 30-pieced by the third quarter, and I turned that game off. And the game before that, they lost to the Bucks by like 20. We still have the best record in the league, though, 62-8. I don't think anyone in the East really competes with them other than the Bucks or the Cavs in terms of matchups. But I see the Celtics in the finals. In the Western Conference, however, I mean, we can say even the 1 through 10 seeds can win a championship. I mean, we have the Lakers at the 10 seed.
The Mavs are pretty bad, so I wouldn't say they have.
Whoa,
any
Mavs are bad? Mavs are bad?
I do think the Mavs are not the best team in the league.
Luka Magic? Whoa,
no. I mean, I'm just saying, out of any team that come out of the West, it won't be the Mavs. So.
Well, they face the Clips. And
and they're going to get 4-0'd. So.
4-0 is crazy because Kyrie and Luka Magic are that backcourt with that supporting cast of Daniel Gafford, P.J. Washington, who, by the way,
P.J. Washington.
P.J. Washington is one of the best defenders I think I've ever seen on that Mavs team in a long while.
Okay.
Since Dorian Finney-Smith.
All right. Some real basketball knowledge right there.
Thank you. Anyways.
Before you continue, I just want to clarify. The Celtics are 62-18 on the year.
I did say that.
I think you said 8, or at least that's what I heard in my ears.
Man.
Just want to make sure we know they're 62-18, not
good.
8.
All right.
Keep going down the list here. And before we do, let me just mention, just right off the bat, the Heat are 44-36. They're sitting on to the 8 seed, and maybe they'll find their way into the play-in. Maybe they won't. They stink. It's all right.
They will.
Well, if they do find their way into the play-in and they make the 8th seed, they'll be facing the Celtics round 1, and they're going to get 4-0'd. So that'll be very
4-0.
Yes. 4-0'd.
He might steal 2 games. We've seen him done it before.
No, he will
We
not.
saw him steal 4 last year.
Yeah, almost in a row.
I
They
blame
stole 3 in a row.
I blame Grant Williams for making him mad. So.
Grant Williams is the problem.
Yes.
All right. That's why he's on the Hornets, but he's kind of hooping over there.
Well, the Hornets are pretty bad, so.
Hey, man. Got to do what you got to do.
You know, Grant Williams really hasn't gotten some great reports as being a locker room guy. Seems to overstay his welcome with the teams that he ends up going to. Hopefully that won't be the case with Charlotte. And, I mean, he looks like be like somewhat of a favorite in Boston before we got rid of him.
You did.
Definitely overstayed his welcome in Dallas, though.
In our championship runs, well, we didn't have any championships, obviously.
Using we here. Are you a Celtics fan?
No. I'm
Okay.
mentioning we as a group right now, 3 of us.
So we didn't go on a championship run, though.
All right, so let me correct myself. My bad, big dog. The Celtics, right? So each time they aim for a championship, he was that corner guy, shot 40%, played some good defense.
Yep.
But ever since Jimmy Butler happened, he's fell down to mid. He went to the Mavs, kind of fell off, got traded.
I hear you.
Great recap on Grant Williams. I got to say, though, whenever I do see him, it's for controversy. That's a drop my phone.
All right.
Well,
can we please talk about the Western Conference, though?
Go
and
ahead.
How compy?
Keep on going with this garbage conference.
Garbage. First of all, the first 3 seeds are the Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Thunder, all holding at least one MVP candidate.
Do you want me to break down why none of those teams, except for the Nuggets, have a chance of making them?
Whoa.
So the Thunder, right? The Thunder, young team, right?
Okay.
Everyone says, oh, yeah, young team. They have no playoff experience whatsoever. They're not making past the second round.
No playoff
I
experience
believe-
whatsoever, but in 1 year they managed to go from the 10th seed to the 3 seed.
Okay. And, again, no playoff experience, which this is the reason why they're going to lose in the second round. I believe it's going to be a Nuggets-Celtics championship.
It might be Timberwolves, to be honest.
The Timberwolves are not making it past to the championship.
If you've seen any film on Ant Edwards, Rudy, and Cat, I feel like you would change your mind.
Well, I mean, I don't have to see film to know that they're not making it to the championship. It's going to be the Nuggets, and the Celtics are going to win in 4 games. So I'm calling. You know what?
4-0 sweep against all these teams in the West.
Chaz talked about it earlier. I do believe the Celtics are going to clean sweep the playoffs here. They're not going to lose a game.
I'm not finna lie, you are kind of being biased
They're not
to
gonna
the
lose a
team
game.
that you favor because these teams in the West are all compy. Even you got the Suns at the 7th seed. You got Bradley Beal kind of coming back in the last 4 games if you've been watching that at all.
Bradley Beal.
Yes, Bradley Beal, who's been averaging 20 in the last 5 games.
Is this the same team
on
that got
great efficiency?
that got blown out in the first quarter?
Yes, but on
the
top of
Clippers.
that,
In the first 5 minutes.
y'all forget that Devin Booker averaged practically 35 plus points on 60.
Evan's very good at stats, but
Come on, bro.
Also
Why are we even talking basketball right now? Because all you mentioned is the Celtics.
Correct.
And you
Well,
do not know 29 of the other teams in the NBA, bro.
well, I do know.
You don't know 5 players off of every single team in NBA.
I'm not gonna go through and name 5 players off of every single team in the NBA. But Evan, realistically here, the Suns are not making it past the first round.
And realistically, right, they faced maybe the Thunder in the first round or the
if they did,
Timberwolves in the first round. So
I mean, yeah. So they're gonna get bounced out.
I mean, Kevin Durant's probably been playing his best basketball
It does not
probably in
matter.
his whole career.
It does not matter.
It does matter, actually.
I want to set up a wager with Evan because
You want to
let's do
set
some
up a
wagering.
wager?
Let's do some sports betting here.
What's your opinion on this, Charlie? I
You
haven't
guys
heard
both
you
18?
speaking a little bit.
I mean, I've already said the Celtics are really looking set up to go far. They got their roster additions with Kristaps, and you can see that it's really paying off for this team, and they're just going to run through the playoffs. They have everyone, all the pieces are healthy, and with this 1 seed in hand for the past while now, it's just a good opportunity for the Celtics to finally get back and raise another banner. So I'm excited for it. And
They do have a lot of depth. Can't lie. I mean, Sam Hauser is tough.
Very tough.
And Peyton Pritchard. Always
Very
in the
tough.
last game of the season, do be dropping like a 30-point triple-double, so got to give props to him.
Well, before we sign off, I just want to give a little shout-out to the Bruins, of course, because they don't get a lot of love from a lot of fans because a lot of people aren't paying attention to hockey, maybe as much as they should, but the Bruins are first in the Atlantic Division and first in the Eastern Conference.
Really?
As that's not true, but they're first in the Atlantic Division. They have a playoff spot. The setup of their bracket is not very helpful for me, but the Rangers are in front of them with 110 points.
So they have a chance, is what you're saying.
They look like they're going to be the second or third seed. There's still some time left in the season, but, I mean, they look good. 3 games left to go until playoff time, and hopefully they redeem themselves for last year's travesty.
Didn't
No.
they get first round exit?
Yes, they got first round exit.
Yeah,
after having a historic season. It was very disappointing.
So basically they were like that. Basically they were like that Atlanta Hawks team that won 60 games, then got fried by the We Believe Warriors.
I'd probably compare them closer to the 2001 or the Seattle Mariners with the best record in MLB history, also getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
That's
just like how the Boston Bruins had the best record in NHL history and got bounced in the first round. We don't need to go any more detail into that sad memory, but one more bonus topic before we sign off. There's a lot of action going on in the rap game right now. A lot of beef between rappers. And, you know, Fridays are always new music days. We didn't really get to see any new disses come out against any of the big 3 like they started the league. But, you know, we heard it in First-Person Shooter by J. Cole and Drake that the big 3 was Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole.
And
then
said,
Kendrick said it's only him. And some took offense to that, and J. Cole most especially, just for J. Cole to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, and that he was going to either change the track or delete the track off of streaming platforms, that being 7 Minute Drill, his response to Kendrick Lamar. And, I mean, you can't really win a diss battle if you're going to just take your own diss off of streaming platforms and apologize immediately, Evan.
I mean, actually, we did kind of get somewhat of a response. Future and Metro Boomin's album kind of came out of We Still Don't Trust You. And honestly, I don't know if there's any features on this new collaborative album they've just put out, part 2 pretty much. But We Still Don't Trust You, as in that nature, they don't trust anybody as they had in the first album when they had Kendrick and dissed the Big 3.
One of the big news on there is that J. Cole is featured on the new album.
Whoa.
He's not really going and taking shots at anyone, but he is collaborating with the same people that facilitated Kendrick Lamar's response. So, you know, maybe Drake's all alone now in this beef. We got to hear a response from him. We are yet to hear anything.
Yeah, we are yet to hear anything from
I'm just waiting for
Drake.
Baby Keem to drop some new music.
It's
been too long.
You know what? That is good.
He's picking up on his cousin's way. Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem both love not dropping music.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, Baby Keem, that Melodic Blue album was really tough. And then he just absolutely disappeared from the world. Only released Hillbillies and just, like,
Yeah, you know.
disappeared.
I gotta say, it's my input here. I'm not really following up the rap game that much, but I do gotta say my favorite diss that was said was on one CDC, Christian Del Carmen.
Okay. All right. So why are we mentioning that?
Well, I just gotta put
Put it out there? Got you.
Just a little shout out to the Tonka boys back home, as we're pretty much done here. You know, anything else you guys want to mention?
I mean, can we please mention that Sammy just beat Gunther for that?
Oh, you want to talk about WWE? Let's talk. You know, the Sammy Gunther match didn't have a really good build-up to it through their TV episodes, but on the way out to the ring, Sammy was with his family, and then he was with Chad Gable, and then met Kevin Owens, right before he walked out to take on Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in WWE history, and of course, put that title back on the map after it was made irrelevant by people like Sami Zayn, like Ricochet, and a lot of other WWE superstars who held that title before Gunther came up from NXT and really took over the scene. The Raw after WrestleMania also was an exciting time to be a fan.
We have to mention Awesome Truth. Awesome Truth.
All right. Well, in the tag team 6-pack ladder match for the tag team titles that were once unified heading in were split, with Awesome Truth picking up their first WrestleMania victory together, their first tag team title reign together, R-Truth's first WrestleMania win, and just a great moment for all. And the SmackDown tag team titles went over to
Austin, right?
Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. A-Town Down Under picked up the titles there. Should be an exciting time. Friday Night SmackDown here tonight, coming live on Fox. And yeah, it's a good time to be a WWE fan. The Rock says that wrestling is cool again.
It really is, I'll have to say.
I don't think it was ever cool, Charles.
All right.
Whoa.
You're in your own bubble over there.
Yeah,
Keep playing
you are.
Siege, bud. But, the WWE is definitely as hot as it's ever been right now, and they're producing as good as content as they really ever have. And WrestleMania was an entire success and definitely a fun time.
Triple H is, in fact, cooking.
All right. One last time.
Isn't he retired? I was
Yes,
pretty
he's
sure.
the COO, the chief or CCO, or whatever. He's the chief content officer. He runs all the shows. He makes
Oh, so he's
everything
the,
run.
I see.
I see.
I see.
He's in a production role now,
Okay.
and that's what he's doing now. He's doing a great job. And Shawn Michaels, his DX buddy, is in NXT, also doing a great job bringing in new talent. With NXT Stand and Deliver over WrestleMania weekend, we saw Julia make an appearance, a big star coming from Japan who looks to be NXT bound, and they also introduced a mid-card title for the women's division in NXT, the Women's North American Championship, which is good developments for women's division.
That's cool.
Could see it happen in the main roster soon if it's a success down there. All right, one more time. Any final thoughts?
Nah.
I think I covered everything I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, how'd you guys like your guest hosting time on Thunderbolt Sports Talk?
I like the experience, like how we could talk about sports. And,
Very
yeah.
interesting.
Very cool. We got out of gym class, and I just checked on, and Mr. Armonte gave us 100. So, I mean, it was a successful day altogether.
Well,
Absolutely.
would you guys, we got one more episode coming up of Thunderbolt Sports Talk that we don't have to deal with Tim Yeen's shenanigans. Would you guys like to nominate any guest hosts that you'd like to see on the program for our next episode?
I know Angel Santana wants to hop on, so I have to nominate him. If not Angel Santana, then Larry Yen. Let's get it.
Yeah, probably those two. I mean, Angel Santana, if he does come on here, he will most likely be talking about Kyrie Irving for at least 30 minutes. But other than that, I feel like he would be a good addition to the pod.
That might be part of the reason why he's not on this episode or even allowed within the vicinity of this episode.
Wow.
Because,
The conflict would build up, yep.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's definitely an interesting person.
Individuals.
And we'll see how it goes if we get him on for our next episode, which won't be next week. You can tune in the week after for episode 11 of Thunderbolt Sports Talk, and whoever wants to, sign us off.
I mean,
No, you got that, Evan.
I got that.
You got that.
I mean, yeah, signing off.